My name is Doc Williams, and I'm a brand developer. So that encompasses a lot, but basically I help entrepreneurs create signature products for their brands, and then I help them through the whole process. So I've run a couple different businesses. So I started in fitness when I was 18. So I was a massage therapist, and then I was a physical therapist assistant, and then I opened my first gym at 23. And then from there, that was a CrossFit gym, and then I opened the biggest parkour gym on the East Coast. One of the American Ninja Warrior contestants lived like 30 minutes away from the gym, so he made that whole obstacle course for that. He trained for the show on the course, and then we got kind of semi-famous because of that, and then we had SWAT team train there, and then we started doing all that kind of stuff. From there, I started learning how to copyright and do things like that. And so later on, because I was writing and wanted to be in fitness, ended up working at ESPN. Other companies would be like, hey, you've worked for ESPN, can you write for us? It became, hey, we don't have a webmaster. They're like, can you, a webmaster, my God. So they'd be like, can you just run our whole page? So then I became like a senior editor, but I didn't know anything about WordPress. Between being on Sumo and then AppSumo, I just started building on that. People kept saying like, you did it over here, can you do that for me? And I built out a couple people's brands, and then people just kept hearing about that, and I was like, let's just do an agency to try to productize all of the things that I was doing before. So what I do now is basically I help entrepreneurs that have trouble with their voice, and then I coach them through that process, either helping them develop that voice and then build products so it actually fits their brand, and then go from there. So we try to hone their superpowers. So just kind of like X-Men or anything like that, everyone has unique abilities, but a lot of times I think there's so much noise out there that they kind of miss how their business could be run because they're being reactionary. So I really try to listen to how they can impact their niche or their ecosystem, and then help them just basically be the person they need to be. The way I impact, either if I'm teaching them or building out a signature brand or product, that allows them to basically use that as a flagship to build whatever they want in their life, in anything. You know, I don't know what it is. I just like seeing how you can produce something, you can have a skill, and you can change people's lives. So like that's all business is. Someone sent me a message that said, Doc, I don't know how he's some internet wizard, but he got me X, Y, and Z. And they know that they have spent so much time and energy and effort and money monetarily that when it's like, oh no, this is what you need, it's just like it changes the relationship with the client. My goal with the whole agency is all of that funding is going to be going into the project I'm passionate about, which is really helping entrepreneurs with disabilities, specifically dyslexia, how they can break into the industry. And by the way, I couldn't really speak until I was 5, and I couldn't read until I was 9. I have an idea, just like the superpower thing. I think being in this new economy, they need to have a superpower and have a portfolio to make a difference. So that's the whole format that I'm building to teach kids.
Welcome back to No Code Week, presented by StartupStarter TV. My name is Laurel Scott. I'm the co-founder and head of partnerships and platform here. We've had an amazing week so far with everything no code, from Adalo to Bubble to TapCart, a really great panel. So make sure that if you're not registered, to go in and register for our event page, and you'll be able to see all of these amazing videos of content that we've created already. And we're excited to have you guys back. Today, we've already had a great workshop from Bubble with Carla Stickler, and she's a success at Bubble. Now we're going to actually dive in and build an app live on Bubble's software platform. And we are building this app out with Doc Williams, the founder of Brand Factory, and Stephen Campbell, the founder of No Code Makers. I would like to welcome to the stage both these amazing guys, and here they are. Doc Williams, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on? Hey. Good to see you.
Stephen, what's going on, man? How are you? I think you're on mute.
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Hey, guys.
What's
welcome,
up, Stephen?
Bless up.
Yeah. You guys. So Stephen and Doc work together frequently on different things to help amazing makers create Bubble apps and a whole plethora of other tools to help you create your brand easily. And they actually can do 3 apps in 1 hour. They're actually going to work on Bubble today. They'll do 3 apps later on in No Code Week next week. Make sure that you tune in though, because tomorrow we will have a happy hour with Doc Williams, and Stevie, you're welcome to join as well, where he will just discuss everything that he knows about code and things that you can learn and some tips that he'll give you, and you'll be able to share some things that you're building. We've also partnered with Video Ask, which is a Typeform product that will allow you to pitch your idea or app to Doc, and he'll choose 3 people that he will build out for that hour. So excited to have you back, Doc. Stephen, welcome to No Code Week, and let's build something.
Okay, good time. So what we've got, Stephen, first of all, how are you doing today?
I am excited.
Yeah.
This will be good. This is going to be good. We talked about this beforehand. Listen, Stephen is so talented. Let me just tell you this. Where I fail in Bubble, Stephen just is like, yeah. So when we heard this, I was like, listen, I might just have a few ideas, but Stephen is an excellent maker. He is so good. He does so much consulting with Bubble. So, we'll be feeding back and forth. We'll be going through some different things from the previous days about building with purpose. And then me and Stephen, we're going to be having a conversation and build some stuff and talk it out. How does that sound?
It's a vibe.
Yeah, man, that's great. And Stephen, feel free to introduce yourself a little bit further. Doc, we gave him a whole video of introduction, so I think they know what he does and who he is and his background by now. But yeah, share a little bit about yourself, and then we'll go ahead and let you guys get started.
Yeah, I'm Stephen, regular guy. I started in no code a couple of months ago, maybe 4 months ago. I stumbled upon the no code movement on Twitter, and it just connected with me. I am no code, I've been working with no code apps, WordPress, these OG apps, and I didn't know other apps existed out there that could scale and, build, larger applications. And so when I stumbled into the community, I realized that, this was me, and I am no code,
Yeah.
And, I built a few applications to get my feet wet, and I launched Virtual Ghostwriter. I guess most persons will know me for that. And it did well on Product Hunt and did well on Twitter. And it has been a real journey. I would say I have been so attached to Bubble, and that's the tool I really, really love. I'm not affiliated with Bubble at all, But I just think Bubble is the future, and I spend most of my time there. So yeah, that's just a brief intro for me.
Well, hey, listen, guys, it's going to be a great workshop. Show them how to do it. I'll let you guys take it from here, and I'll see you guys on the other side. All right.
Thanks, Lauren.
That's soon. I'll
Thank
see
you
you
so
guys
much.
with it.
All right, let's do this, man. So what we're going to be doing, and now we've been doing this throughout the last couple of days, Stephen, but what we're going to do is we're going to talk about theories of what you can be using the platform for, and then we're going to be actually building and doing things like this. Now, we talked about beforehand, there are ways to build with purpose. So again, we're going to be going through different ways, all of those different things, showcasing what the extent is. You talked about virtual ghostwriter a little bit, but we're going to dive in a little bit more in all of those things. And then we're going to be building on Bubble and talking about some features and how we can be building effectively. What do you think about that?
Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for it, man.
All right, cool.
You lead though.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
lead.
I got you. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm going to share my screen first. And just giving an intro, although we already had a great presentation already about Bubble, we're going to make sure that everyone's on the same page. So if you're going to be building live or you're watching this on replay and you want to start seeing this, we're going to be starting at the front and then we're going to be going from there. Also, too, Jonathan, thank you so much for joining. Mark, look at this. By the way, Mark's joining us right now from Australia, too. So we got all kinds of people in the chat today.
Yeah, welcome, Mark.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So thank you so much for watching and being here. Great people. So what we're going to do is, as we get started, it's important to note, we've talked about this a few times, but when you're building on whatever platform, Bubble, Adalo, Tapcart, it doesn't matter. You still need to turn your idea into reality, and you need to have a workflow. You have to work with purpose as you go through this. So because I have Stephen here, we're actually going to be talking about this a little bit more. And what I want to do is I want to talk about virtual ghostwriter as the example of how you built with purpose. And then we're going to go into the platform, do a couple things like that. So let's talk about it. And by the way, in the chat right now, let Stephen and myself know, what are you working on? What kind of projects are you trying to work out? Maybe you're using Bubble or you're not sure what type of platform, but in the comment section down below, please let us know. So, Stephen, let's talk about this. Now, for you starting virtual ghostwriter, I want to know, how did you know people needed this product or service? What were you having the struggle? Were you having trouble with it? Why did you start this?
So the idea really came from my pain point. I built a lot of websites, for myself, for clients, and I just really found it very boring to get the copywriting part done. That was just the major point for me, where if you look at virtual ghostwriter, it's really minimalist. I really don't like to write a lot of copy for websites. There's barely any copy there. I'm a builder like this. I want persons coming on the site to know automatically what it does. I'm not sure if I did a good job at that. I've had a lot of questions and I've had to tweak here and there. But I would love for persons to come on and know what it does right out. But back to my pain point, I hated writing copy. I got access to OpenAI. I just applied when I heard about it. And I was just getting started with Bubble. And I was wondering, is it possible for me to generate text for websites? Was it possible? And that was where it started for me. I had a whole page in my journal where I was like, what should I build with OpenAI? What should I build with Bubble? And that was my pain point at the time. And I just decided to build a tool that could help writing copy. Now the name Ghostwriter is, I wanted to stretch the idea. Could it write, articles? Could it write, maybe help someone write a book, So I found out that a ghostwriter was someone who helps persons write books. So that was where the whole idea came from.
That's awesome. Now, before we go in, could you talk about, you said something AI for people that don't know. Wait a minute, Stephen, what are you using? What were you adding that together? Could you talk about what you use with Bubble to make this possible?
Okay, so I mentioned AI, artificial intelligence, right? So OpenAI is a company that has built a tool GPT-3, they have an algorithm, GPT-3, that is a natural language processing algorithm that generates text results based on prompts that you feed to their API. And when I say API, just feeding text into their system, it gives you results, contextualized results based on the text that you are feeding in. So if I want to ask a question, just like if I'm gonna research a question on Google, I could feed that question into OpenAI and I get an answer, based on how I structure the question. So that text generation is it's not like I have a database of answers. So I didn't have to compile a set of answers for particular questions or particular statements. So I went the route of having that generated real time through OpenAI's GPT-3 algorithm. So that's so when persons input text into my app, the answer comes directly from OpenAI and is displayed on the front face of the app. It's text generation, So there's not much happening on the back end more than an API call, really.
So I would just like to point out, even though Stephen is saying this and it sounds very easy, there's a lot going on. And it's hard for people to do. This is why people buy courses from you, how to do this. So Stephen's saying this very nonchalantly. It is not that easy to do the first time. This is great. This is great. In fact, for the demo I did with this, it was so accurate when I was asking very specific questions. I was so surprised at the way that it articulated and gave me the answer. I'm not sure if you saw that review video that I did, but it kind of threw me back because I was asking a question about a very specific sports team, and it was up to date by the week of the gossip and what was happening in the news. And it was like, this is what's happening. I was like, this is insane. This is insane. So it's an awesome tool, man. It's an awesome tool.
Thanks, man.
Let's go a little bit deeper. So we talked about this, and again, this is why we're going through this before we build, because now you're seeing, just like Stephen was saying, it's a pain point. He needed this, right? He was thinking about this. Now, the next question I have is, did this already exist? Was this an idea that you had already saw someone already use something similar, or is this something brand new and you're like, I need this? People haven't used this at all yet.
So I wasn't really searching for it, really. I was looking for, when I started the journey, I was looking for like ghost writers, if there was any AI attached to ghost writing. And there weren't many websites. I saw some persons offering like services, ghostwriting services. But as I searched, I wasn't finding a lot of ghostwriting artificial intelligence services. So I found some things like blog generation, article generation, and it seems as if it wasn't as intelligent as GPT-3 was at the time. So I was like, well, maybe GPT-3 coming into this space would help, So I kind of held my head down and just started building this thing. Didn't know how it would come out, but what I did early was put it out there. As soon as I got it functional, I kind of put it out there, and I got a whole lot of feedback, and I realized how I could kind of structure it a little better for the audience. I put it out there really early.
I love it. I love it. And just so for ones that are watching this, guess what? This was one of the first of its kind. There was a lot of other ones that were trying to do things like with machine learning. This was one of the first platforms I had ever seen that did it. And I was like, this is incredible. This is incredible. Great stuff. Before we go on and talk about, because you validated it, did it already exist? Not really. Did people want it? You kind of went into it right there. Tons of feedback. I saw all that. That's how we met. Because someone was like, look what Steven's doing. I was like, who's Steven? What are we talking about? And it was great. Before we go into page 2, Mark was asking in the crowd, is there a minimum amount of text or words you need to get a decent result using Virtual Ghostwriter?
You will, if you put in a full stop, you will get a result. But it might not be the result that you want. So how I've found in my experience that GPT-3 works is that you have to prompt it along with a given context. So if I want to complete a sentence to say the chicken went across the road, then what happened? I want to know what happened. I would have to say the chicken is crossing the road, and then in putting and, the algorithms is thinking, in so to speak, what is next, and it kind of tries to predict what should come next, based on the context that you are giving the algorithm. So you can see the result. The chicken is crossing the road, and or if you have a question, you should put a question mark at the end, and the algorithm will try to figure out that, hey, this is a question. Let's find an appropriate answer based on the words given in this prompt.
That's interesting. Tell me about the randomness right here. Tell me about this thing.
Okay, so randomness is what I found out affects the result. Sometimes the result, it's AI, right? A lot of persons really have GPT-3 in a very high regard, and I do as well. But it's AI, and you have to feed it a lot of sense, garbage in, garbage out. So the randomness kind of, if you have lower numbers of randomness, it gives you a more clear-cut answer. If you have higher numbers, it gives you a more creative answer. So you kind of find it joking around or playing around, but the lower values will give you a clear-cut, definite answer.
I love it. It was just saying the chicken is crossing the road and the fox is chasing it. That's very interesting. Oh my goodness, I love this thing. My wife got a hold of it, and we went in very two separate directions. I was kidding; she was very serious, asking it history questions, all of these things. I was just trying to have fun with it. It's amazing what it does. It's amazing what it does. That's good. That's good. Okay. Going on, and thank you so much, Stephen, for all of this and this insight. This is great. And by the way, I think there is something down below, or you'll see on the screen. You can try this out, or try this out. What is it per month, Stephen? Is it 14 a month, or how much is it for a virtual ghostwriter?
It's $9.99 per month.
Listen,
you get 130,000 credits for the month.
Sure. So it's at virtualghostwriter.com. Listen, I'm not even getting paid as an affiliate. I'm just happy for it. Go get that thing. Go try it out. Seriously. No, it's amazing. We tried it with our blogs because a lot of times we were spending hundreds of dollars a month for SEO services of people writing, maybe article 750 words. We need 1,200, whatever. It's a steal. Like there's nothing else that I would be doing right there. So it's just something else. Now, as we're going through this, did people want it? Obviously, because you got people interested and you got paying customers with it. So that was excellent. This is something that I want to talk about to you, but I think I know the answer, but do I want to do it? This was a question that we prompt our students and our clients because so many different distractions. Do I actually want to do this? Could you talk about the benefits of creating what you did was basically create a micro SaaS where this is working for you, you're not working for it. Could you talk about what kind of power that gives you now that you have a software as a service that you created and couldn't go to bed?
Yeah. Do I want to do it? I want to do this times 10, because when I launched it, in the initial stages, I was getting a lot of feedback, and, some investors did kind of reach out, and, I went on some calls and spoke about it, but I realized that I didn't necessarily want to take it where, I was investing all my time into building a company around it. I really don't want to go down that route. I just want it to be an app, and exactly how I intended for it to function. It functions and it keeps running in the background. And whatever customers give me feedback on, I continue to improve. So I just run it in the background, and that is perfect for me. I can step away from it for a month. It keeps running. Everything is automated, and all I have to do is answer customers. So I really like that, and it's something that really motivated me because this is really one of my first set of no-code tools. I built like two, uh, you know, apps before this, and this was the third, and this was like maybe 3 weeks into Bubble, just learning Bubble, just finishing their basic courses, and I just tried to go all out to say, could I push Bubble or push no code to actually, be an AI, and that's where it was for me.
I would just like to point out, Steven's just saying this. It took me 3 weeks. I have worked on Bubble for years. I have to drink, leave it, come back. I did what I always talk about before. Sometimes there's certain platforms that you just, the workflow, you just feel it, you just do well. So remember, in the audience, pick a platform that you really enjoy. If you talk to anyone like Steven and others that love Bubble, their face lights up. They're great at that platform and they can crush it. They do other things, but keep in mind, you're going to probably naturally fall into a category where you like a certain platform and you like it for a set of tools, or you can move very fast with it and agile. So keep that in mind. And remember, 3.5 weeks of learning Bubble, already creating a micro SaaS for himself. Now we have one question in the audience talking about, can we find Virtual Ghostwriter in the App Store? Steven, can you do that at that stage, or right now it's only you have to go to the website and everything like that?
It's a web app, and it will remain a web app. It's fully responsive. That's something that really caught me initially, because there's a small hill that you have to go over with Bubble to learn, and responsiveness was a big one. So initially I was kind of just, tweaking one pixel here, one pixel there. How can I get everything on the mobile page? But it's not available in the App Store, but it's completely responsive. Mobile, tablet, iPad, whatever. It's completely responsive on the web.
Hey, Steven, could you answer a question for me? I hear a lot when people ask, like, well, but I need it to be in the store. I want to either add an app wrapper and put that bad boy in the store. Could you talk about that? Why do you care about that? About getting an app wrapper and putting it on? Do you care? Will it be based on project or anything like that?
You mean like, would I want this app in the App Store?
Because there was I'm not sure. It depends if you're on there. So I get into the Bubble message boards, and I just end up in there for a little while too long. And a lot of people ask about app wrappers. So actually having another application to be able to submit it to the App Store.
Yeah, it's not necessary in my personal opinion. I won't take a tech approach to it, because I am not in the tech space reading everything, and I couldn't tell you where tech is with regards to that. But for me personally, I don't download any apps anymore. I don't have an iPhone. I have an Android device, and I rarely ever download apps. So I just, and call me in a box. That's just where I am right now until I can find some more time to read and learn what's going on out there. But I just take my example and how I feel. I wouldn't want to download any more apps if I could even just find it in Google or find it on the web and have it respond to every device that I have, because eventually it takes up space. And once you download an app, you use it once or twice and maybe never look on it again until you need some space, and then you delete it. So Gotcha. That's just my thing.
Hey, the reason I ask you, and that was a great answer, I'm always about sometimes, and it was a good question from the audience. Sometimes I really do a pushback, because I want to ask the creator and look for your audience. If your audience is asking for it, what's going on, how you feel about it. And I'm all about execution and go. And obviously you took advantage of this. You did a great job, and it's great to see. So that goes into, do I really want to do this? Emphatically, Steven was saying yes. If you're looking at these other sections, you're saying, well, I'm not really sure, how easy is it for me to do? Remember, just like Steven was talking about, pick something, or again, use a platform that you're comfortable with, and everyone's going to be different. So just like Steven took him about 3 weeks, everyone has a different learning curve. It takes a little bit longer. Don't compare yourself to anyone else, but realize that you still have to put time and energy especially if you're going to work with a platform that is more robust, like Bubble, like AppGyver, like Builder. Those ones are very large, and it still takes time. It's a larger learning curve. I like how Steven said a small hill compared to something like Softer, but like Softer, you could do it like that if you've ever used any kind of web builder. But again, go with what's for you. And the last part we go into, the ask. The ask portion is to ask for money when you're trying to have this idea. So the question is, Steven, how fast were you to ask for a subscription, or how fast did you validate for people to pay for your product?
Right away. I don't believe, and this is a personal thing, I honestly sometimes get annoyed when persons say I'm not doing this for the money. Yeah. Because okay, yes, I would love to help people with this application, but I'm gonna pay Bubble every month. I'm gonna pay OpenAI for the credits every month, and I'm gonna pay for everything else that I need. That's bankrupting myself. So if I am trying to be efficient, I have to do it to at least balance what I'm paying. That's just the right way to approach it. So at the very outset, I was looking at integrating Stripe and other means to collect payments so that I could offset the cost. So to be honest, and this is a story, I got into Bubble's Immerse program. So I didn't, and I wasn't successfully. I applied for Bubble's Immerse program and I wasn't successful initially, but I got contacted by one of the reps and they're like, you have 2 months free. So I upgraded to the personal plan. I could connect a domain and I wasn't paying for the first month. So I was like, I have to execute this thing. So this thing pays by the time I reach month 3. It has to pay for itself because I'm not going to pay for this thing. And then OpenAI's credits cost per prompt. So I was like, this app has to pay for itself, and I put a pop-up, a payment wall there. And when I launched it, like a day after I saw the first payment, I never knew someone would pay for this thing. I was just like, what? Somebody paid? So it kind of really motivated me and encouraged me.
That's awesome. I love the story. And first of all, what I love about this, if people didn't know, this was the first time me and Steven's really been talking about this in depth together like this. But I love to hear your story. And it shows that you're going and you're working with purpose and you're setting deadlines. You're keeping yourself accountable and you're executing. That is what no code is about. This is what you can be doing. You can be empowered and get to where you want to go by setting goals and working hard. And Steven is doing this. You're seeing this. You're seeing this right now. So we're going to transition over in a moment. And what we're going to do is, again, we were talking about this beforehand. We're going to just pretty much play off each other. I'm going to be talking about a couple things in my account. Let me know, Steven's going to be very honest with how bad my account looks compared to his. We're going to go through this, but this is to help you get to the next level. So remember, in the comment section down below, make sure that you're letting us know about what's going on. Make sure that you're telling us what you're trying to do with your business, all of those things, and then we're going to make sure that we're keeping that in mind and again, making sure that we're giving you great feedback for what you're trying to create. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to bubble.io and we're going to log in. I'm going to log into my account. And from there, let me switch over here. You already know, Steven, I got too many Gmail accounts. Hold on a second. I got to jump in. Can't show people my whole life right here for a second. So that's switching over. And as I'm logging in, this is another project that me and Steven were working on. And this was using, it was AI videos, and we were using another platform to integrate with it. And do you want to talk a little bit about AI videos and what that was?
Yeah, so we were on a similar stream like this, and Doc was just talking about an idea. First time I was hearing about this app, Synthesia. I think Cynthia, let's call because I don't know if I'm getting the name right either. I call it Synthesia, Synthesia, maybe Cynthia, whatever. But Doc was just talking about this concept that he thought, how, how could we build an app around Synthesia? I have access to the API, and he was like, hey, Stephen, let's build something. We're gonna build this thing out. And we jumped on Twitter after the call, and I was like going through. Doc gave me his login, and I was going through documentation. I was like, yeah, maybe we could do something with this. And I just jumped into Bubble, and connecting the API was a thing. It's not straightforward, but once you've got it done like once or twice, you know what to look for. The route, and if it's a get or a post call, and all the instructions are there. And maybe within a few hours, like we got the API connected to Bubble, and I made one successful call. And this is just a throw together, right? Of the end result. You could put in a video title, put in a video description, pick an actress or an actor, and you can choose a background, green screen or other colorful backgrounds, and it would generate a video of that actor reading the title and reading the video description. It takes some time. It's very, very rough. And we didn't, and once we did it, we didn't put in any more work after that. We took the feedback when we posted it on Twitter, and we didn't do any more work. So it's very rough, but it actually produced a video from just text. That's text to video without code, by just making an API call through Bubble. And that kind of blew my mind. And I realized that, any app is possible. Really, any app is possible as long as you know how to get it done.
Exactly. No, and that's why we're going to be this whole other discussion we talked about on Monday. But I'm pretty much going deep diving into APIs and all of those things. we gotta talk, Stephen, after this because there's a lot of stuff I'm working on. I need your help with. So this is going to be good stuff. And Mark is saying that I love the concept of virtual ghostwriter for creating first drafts. Such a great idea. That's awesome too. Yeah, it's doing all the heavy lifting for you right there. That's really good, Mark. And first of all, Mark's doing a great job. So many different things he's doing down in Australia. And tell us too, what are you still in government as well? I forget. You're doing something. You were running for office last year, and then you're also having the business that you're working with local businesses as well. So you're just doing a great job over there. Let's see. As long as you know how to get it done. Yeah, that's right. He's talking about how these things work. That's right, Mark. And again, I would just like Stephen was talking about in the AI videos, it's really important. Maybe it's the first draft. I still have an idea what we're going to do with AI videos, but it's important to get that validation and to get out the concept. Then you can always improve. You don't have to have it all the way done. Sometimes it's just that concept to get you to where you need to go, or I almost call it like a spiritual prequel or something that helps you now understand what you want to do in your next project. So many things that you can be doing with Bubble and these powerful platforms. Okay, so now what we're going to do is I'm going to jump into my Bubble account, and we're going to kind of go through a couple different things and how I approach it. And then, of course, Stephen, who is so much better than me, we're going to have another layer and we'll talk about it. But it's really important that you have to realize, and I'm showing you my stuff first because it's ugly, but I'm trying to show you that when you're working with these different things, it's important that you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. Yeah. So when we're going through this, I'm going to show, and for me, and this is just me, Stephen, I feel more confident when I can see, even if it's a rough sketch, not a blank canvas, because that intimidates me. That gives me that's too much for me. If I have something blank, it feels like, oh my God, like I don't know where to begin and everything like that. So what I wanted to do just briefly, keep in mind too, when you're working in your projects, perhaps talk to different ones that are experienced in Bubble or see their work experience, because I guarantee you what I'm about to show you in my work and how I go is totally different than Steven. And that's okay. Every maker, every no coder is different, but understand your workflows, and there's going to be fundamentals as you're going through anything. Okay. So if we go into here, and then I'll create a new project in a moment. And Steven, I probably already told you this. When I don't know a name of the app or what I should do, I name it Panda Fire every single time. Every single time. So it's gonna happen one day. It hasn't worked for me yet. The biggest thing with me, and I'm doing this just for myself, because when I was first getting started, when I had a canvas, it was really hard for me to to have the concept like what Steven was talking about, understanding how I was going to optimize for mobile or for website. It was really hard for me to understand how to change the relationships or something like this. A tip that I had that it was actually at a Bubble meetup and everything. One of the things he was talking about was decide for yourself if you're going to have one that's going to be more desktop or it's going to be more mobile. Like, what are you optimizing for? And that helps you to like alleviate the stress of like, you've got to go back and forth and build both versions right off the bat. If you have something, it allows you to now have purpose and move with purpose and drive quicker. So keep that in mind. The other thing that I want to talk about before we switch over and create a new one, and just to show you, this one was very easy. And the reason I'm using this example, because a lot of people have seen Product Hunt or things where it's an up vote, down vote kind of system. And the thing that I didn't understand before was they were talking about when you're creating everything, make sure that you're just either writing down on just an index paper, just a note card or something, but think about how your interaction, what you're going to be doing, and what you want to happen on the page. That seems very simple, but remember, don't get overwhelmed of like, this doesn't look great, I don't know about this. Just like sketch out quickly what you're trying to have happen, and then that allows you to structure your workspace in the right way. That really helped me out when I was first getting started with Bubble, because again, when I was coming from a more traditional builder in no code, I was really upset that it was wide open and I didn't have any guidelines. It wasn't a mock-up of this design. Steven, what about yourself?
And Doc, on that point, it's okay to not get it right away. It's okay to not understand. You know, that's very important. That no code voter is you are saying that, well, it's very basic, but you've had to overcome a lot of learning to get that done, you know. And it's okay to not know initially. You know, everyone starts somewhere. You know, I would say that I am no expert. I'm still a beginner in Bubble. I'm really a beginner, but I've done an app. You know, I still would regard myself as a beginner based on everything that Bubble offers. So we all have to start somewhere, and just making mistakes, that's fine. You know, that's fine.
It's good. No, it's really, you've got to. And the main thing that I saw was when I first did this, definitely was, hold on one second. I'm trying to multitask and do this. There we go. When it was, I used to get really afraid that I had to be perfect the first time, or I was afraid I'm doing something wrong. Listen, it's okay. When you're on these platforms, it's all right to mess up. Like it's going to happen. And I feel like the more you're comfortable with that and moving in that direction, it now allows you to be more fearless and to get to certain points of your project that you might be hung up with if you didn't just try it or just go for it. So let's go into this for a second. And as we're about to start building, and we actually had a question right here. We're saying, I want to build, and I apologize not being able. How would I say his first name, Steven, in the comments? Wu being the last name. I'm sorry. Comments. Other side, you click that little button, blue button, maybe where it says comments on the side. I'll read it. There we go.
Oh, I want to build online or mobile presence to market myself as a kick-ass interpreter, including blogs, videos, and a portal making video conference with interpreters easy and simple.
And then he's got
So,
a second part too. But yeah, what about that? What do you think?
so online or mobile presence to market myself. You're looking for a website, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to experiment with API so that I can connect my services with other companies who need interpretation or translation services. Okay, so it sounds like the first step is, building out a landing page or, a
Yep.
simple website that has your videos and some copy around your services and a description of who you are, a background, maybe some social proof, and just having that page there and then thinking about APIs in the backend, or it could be if you want to go the route where you want a platform behind your landing page where persons can sign in and access your services and it's kind of semi-automated, or you just want yourself as the product or service and persons will just reach out to you via email. You might want to integrate like a form or like an email list that you could get connected to persons visiting that site. But it starts with a simple landing page and your stuff
Yeah,
on the forefront.
exactly right. And so while we were talking, the other days I was actually timing myself, but this happened so fast I forgot to start the timer. You saw how fast we just already had a mock-up and ready in Bubble. Now, what was really important, and we did not, by the way, we didn't script this. Stephen and me didn't talk about this beforehand,
Yeah.
but exactly with what Stephen just said, even if you're using APIs and you want all of these other components, it still starts with validating what people are looking for, what you're trying to do, and then find out how they articulate the problem, and then be able to go and find those API calls, go and do all of those things later. But you don't have to do it right now. You don't have to do it. And even just right here, I should have put on my timer. I didn't know it was gonna do it this quickly. But if you look at it, we can already start and have the basics of a structure of a landing page. And I like this so much because now I have all the basics of what I can do. A sign in, a login right there. I can have an opt-in if I'm going to be doing a form, something like this. It's really important, just like Stephen was saying, don't overcomplicate it. Sit back. How can you show that you can deliver value, and then begin from there? Add those things. But just like if you want, Stephen, in a moment, if you want to see it, and it's up to you, Stephen, if you want to do it, Stephen already can show you how to use APIs or how to connect it in Bubble. But the purpose is, it's no point of you getting that deep down into the rabbit hole of all of those things without first hearing your audience and getting them to acknowledge either paying you, or by opting in, by getting their email or their phone number, that you're on the right track. You can be spending hours or days or weeks understanding API documentation, and you might have to go find a different API call than something else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also, if it's just for online presence, then you have to start thinking about how do you distribute your services, how do you distribute your product, and one major thing is social media. You know, so you need to have some kind of channel where persons will get to you. What, and if not social media, probably think about a blog or having your website properly optimized, SEO, so that persons can find you, and then you can see what persons are asking for, as Doc mentioned, and you can tailor your site, because you could I how I see my app and how I see my site is different from how visitors see it, and 10 to 1 they'll always use it differently, you know, than how I use it. And that's what I've been learning. Persons would, jump in emails and say, hey, I can't get this figured out. And I was like, but I didn't design it that way. But that's how they saw it, and maybe that's how I should look at it as well. If there's a repeat of this kind of approach to using an app, or a question when persons visit my landing page or my site.
Yeah, no, definitely. And he's saying great advice. Excellent. I think that really helps you hit the ground running and move with purpose right there. Excellent job. And thank you very much, Stephen. Those are great things to keep in mind.
And thanks for that question. I hope we kind of did justice to it.
Yeah, no. And as you can see right here, now again, not every bubble project starts like this, but as you can see, if you want to be having a framework where you're having all of these things, that's easier to do, all of those things right here, guess what? Now it's possible for you to make those changes, have all of the things that we're looking for right now, and then go and start adding on. Now, Be a Maker Club says, we teach 3D printing and have a list of recommended settings. Can we build an AI that can help a user pick the best setting based on the file they upload? Okay, really good question. Stephen, you there?
Yeah, man, I'm reading.
Okay. I was like, where'd you go?
Teach 3D printing and have a list of recommended settings. And we build an AI that can help a user pick the best setting based on the file they upload. Okay, so it's a teaching platform. That's what I'm figuring out from the question. And have a list of recommended settings. Okay, so you want something automated. So, AI isn't the solution for everything. AI comes into play and is integrated into a service when you're trying to give an unpredictable result, I think. Something that requires maybe intellectual intervention. But if you have a discrete set of services, that is to say, if you have say 6 things, and based on what people upload, you want them to pick, or you want an automatic selection, you could use OCR, like an optical character reader or optical character recognition device, and you could kind of pick keywords from whatever they upload and have a simple algorithm, if then, else. It doesn't have to be AI. AI could be used. Maybe AI is a solution. But if it's a very, simple set of recommendations, you might just want to do a simple, algorithm. What do you think, Doc?
That's really interesting that you say that. I believe, and this is where it comes into, and Be a Maker Club, thank you so much for the question. I think this is the issue where sometimes AI and machine learning sometimes gets crossed, and then it almost sounds one and the same. I think this has to do with more, the OCR and machine learning helping you more than AI. The only thing I was thinking about AI, if it was like sentiments, like analysis and all of these other things to build a model, but that still wouldn't help the user be able to do this. I think what would happen is exactly what Stephen was saying. It would be an algorithm. It would be more machine learning based on, and I would say also to Be a Maker Club, do you have the data of what your past clients or customers have had? You feed it in, then you have more of those parameters already set. And then that would be more machine learning of doing it. If you're looking at something, and you can definitely do it with Bubble, and Steven's going to tell you how to do it or go this way. To me, I would use AppSheet, because AppSheet already has the OCR integrated in it, and it has the machine learning from Google Cloud Platform to do it automatically, and it makes relational databases for you without you needing to structure it.
Yeah.
So to me, I mean, you could definitely do it on Bubble. I mean, Steven's going to be able to tell you for sure. I don't know how. I wouldn't know how to. Have you added OCR to your Bubble projects or anything like that?
Yeah, I think.
You see how he just said that so matter of factly, like, yeah.
What was this one? TLDR. Too long didn't read that code.
That's right.
Yeah, that had an OCR. That had an OCR component, but it was only pulling text from a PDF. But funny you mentioned AppSheet, because I was looking at a YouTube video, Google Cloud, and they were talking about AppSheet. I was like, whoa! When did Google become? And they are using up the terms, man. No code and all these things.
Listen, man.
So Google has an offering for that, and it's AppSheet, and it seems to be very robust.
Let me
I
tell you,
haven't
we're gonna
had the opportunity to use it, but yeah.
after this call, like no joke, we gotta talk tomorrow because Google Cloud Vision. I'm not just wait until what you just wait until you see what I've got. But it's true. And the thing is, what I like about these no code platforms, a lot of times you can integrate, or if you can use certain databases from some, add to the other. The reason I like AppSheet, and I know people are like, wait a minute, I thought you were talking about Bubble. But it's important for you to understand there's still a large area. There's a landscape of different types of tools. So I'm just going on this small tangent. I'll come back to Bubble, but they already can scale because AppSheet was bought and acquired by Google, and all of their other API services, everything in the cloud platform can now be able to integrate with a single click. You can go into Google Cloud Platform and turn on and off things. They all integrate together. So I don't have to worry about, does this sync? Do I have to keep updating a plugin? All of those different things. I forgot questions. We got a couple. They were saying we're from the guy earlier was talking about creating a site, what you need to do for talking about yourself on your landing page. He said, I can use Virtual Ghostwriter for that as well. So he said, I created a short blog to solve mysteries about medical term involving different languages, and people seem to find it interesting. The thing is, if you're saying they find it interesting, see what they're opting into. So if you're writing that blog post, what do you get to that next point? Is the blog post about, now that they know this information, what do they now do it? Are they either in a medical profession and they want to learn more? Is it ones that are just the general public and they need to know this to converse with their doctor in a different language? Deep dive why they care, and then test out different options with an opt-in, a simple form saying, hey, if you're looking for X, I have this resource, or do you need a discovery call? What do you need, to see if they take that learning explanation and get to the next level with that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Stephen? Does that?
Yeah, that's solid. That's solid, man.
Okay, cool. Mark says the TLDR app is excellent. Very.
I have to shout out to Mark. I think Mark reached out to me via email. I remember his name, and he really, gave me a good review, and I think he bought me a coffee as well. Shout out to Mark. Thanks for supporting, and thanks for being on this live.
Yeah, Mark's everywhere. Thanks so much, Mark. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. I'm glad people are enjoying this. Also, too, Be a Maker Club says, thanks for those recommendations. Okay. Good times. Good times. Yep. Mark says that he was the one who did it too.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark.
That's really good. This is good. This is excellent. So remember, as we're going through these different things, it's important to note that the questions that everyone's asking, they're excellent questions. Remember, we're always going to ask why, and how can we get quicker to validate for someone to opt in or to pay. And the reason behind that is you can see if people value, or if you're solving a problem very quickly if you put a paywall. Yeah. People are very quick to give you compliments, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's good to have a balance of ones that are supporting you, but to make sure that you're going to succeed and it can scale and it's something that your target audience wants, you have to get to that ability to start testing your price. Even if it's $5, $1, you have to test it, or you have to pivot or get closer or articulate other things to make sure that you're getting to the pain point or having the right target audience. You got to do it. Mark says, it's your fault, Doc. I learned about Stephen and his abilities from you. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's great. That's great. So listen, Stephen's been on the show quite a few times, and he just shows up and he just kills it every single time. He's a great maker, and so many different things coming out with what you've got planned. And I need help from you, Stephen. So we're going to be talking about this in a little bit.
We have to talk.
This is good. This is good. Well, let's go from this. Unfortunately, I have to go to another appointment, but with what we're doing real quick, Stephen, it's totally up to you. Before we end or anything like that, is there something that you want to say, something about Bubble, something that it's like that aha moment that made you now drive and get to the next level with Bubble?
Okay. Let me tell you where I am now and then I'll backtrack a little. Right now, I'm doing a boot camp with AirDev, and that has just opened my mind a whole lot more. I you can rest on your laurels when you have launched an app on Bubble, but I just went out there to learn more. And in learning more about Bubble, I am 100% sold on Bubble. And it's no code is not only about Bubble, but there are other great applications out there like Airtable, Softer, Webflow, and never leave out WordPress, Card, all of these other tools out there. I would say focus on one tool. And this is me backtracking now. Focus on one thing, get it under your belt to a good standard, a good level, and produce some value out of that experience. I very rarely like to build for building's sake. I've been learning more to do that, to learn, but I very rarely like to do it because I want to try to add value as I'm doing something. So if you get started, and when I got started, I had the frame of mind to add as much value as I can to whatever audience I was trying to reach, and have get the feedback from them, because that will inform me how I should act next. I very rarely want to put in 6 months of effort and then only to find out that it doesn't fit. I'd like to put in 6 hours of effort, and then get it out there, and then the audience tells me that, hey, this is crap, and you need to throw this away, and then it saves me that time, or this is great, you need to continue, and it informs my next step, because they will say, like, why don't you do this, why don't you do that? So in simpler terms, just ship it, right? Just ship it.
Yep, exactly right. Exactly right. And you can see what's going on with exactly what he's doing. We have Ollie's talking about, Stephen, we love your energy and your app. Can we offer you a free PWA for your Bubble app? Daggone, people trying to sell some stuff right here in the stream in the world. Listen, man, this is crazy. And first of all, Ali, you're not offering me jack. So first of all, no, but you see the name and everything like that, Stephen. Make sure that you can see that and all those things. No selling, just free. Man, listen, free stuff.
Oh, wow.
Listen to that. You hear that too? Look at that.
PWA, I had to Google that just now. Is that progressive web apps? I'm not sure.
So yeah, progressive web app. So you're saying basically to make it an app wrapper for his Bubble app. That's probably what Ali's saying. That's what he's probably saying he wants to do. Look at this. Look at this, man. Well, listen, I'll let you do. That's your business, man. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So he's saying PWA for yours. Look at that. People coming out of the woodwork trying to make things for you.
I'm seeing Be a Maker Club say, another quick question. Can you use Bubble to connect to WordPress?
Yeah. So there is it's up to you, but there is a WordPress plugin for that to be able to do that integration. But again, it depends on, let me bring it over on my screen. It depends on the exact thing that you're trying to do, right? So if you're looking in, I want this plugin, what am I trying to do? Make sure that you have a detailed breakdown of the exact thing that you're trying to integrate and what you're trying to do. For example, some people use Bubble with Adalo. So they're using Adalo for the front end, the database, and the back end for Bubble. Keep in mind the same way. It's not going to be just for like a tit for tat, like this is what I'm doing on WordPress, so it's going to happen in Bubble. So there are ways to integrate, but make sure that you're already writing out in detail what you're trying to do and what you're keeping in mind. Again, work with purpose. Work with purpose if you want to do something with WordPress. So the thing I would back up is, yes, it's possible. What would you like to do with it? How does this help you with what you're getting to your goals and everything like that? Real quick too, as we're wrapping up, Stephen, are you going to take the reins as I've got to go, or are you rolling to what's your schedule like?
Since it was supposed to be a live build. I had intended to do a very simple build, nothing technical, just a simple thing on the Bubble. Let me try to share.
Share your screen. Share your screen.
I should probably share my entire window. Am I sharing?
You are. As long as at the bottom you see where it says hide,
Yeah.
just click that thing where it says hide so you can just still see the whole thing. This is great. Yep. Click that. You're good to go, man. We're ready.
So this is the bubble editor. I named this app StartupStarter. It will be available at startupstarter.bubbleapps.io. So this is the header, and this is basically built in. It's a reusable element, and it's built in, and it already has a sign up button. The sign up button also gives a pop-up to enable users to sign up. It has links. You can change these links text here and redirect them all over the place. The header has a workflow. This is just a basic overview of what Bubble offers as a header. So I tend to use this header all the time. I don't build a header. If I want to change this, I edit what is already there, change the buttons here and so on. But this is Bubble's editor with a header. And as you can see here, it's just design. I'm in the design environment here. You have a workflow environment and a data environment. So the data environment is basically the backend, and any application is just sending data from one place to the next. That's what an application does. It sends data from one place to the next, and Bubble provides a way for you to create data types. It has a default data type as user, and it provides an email user type built in. It also has password built in, but it's not available for even the creator to see. So Bubble does provide a lot of security, and you can view the database or the app data in the backend here in the editor. So that's the data. You have workflows which you can create to give instructions to what is on to what items are on the front end. So I'll just build something very simple, and that would be just a prompt to send an email to the creator of this application. So it will send an email to myself. So I'll just do a small group here. And groups, I always start with groups to help me to control all the elements in a particular boundary. So I would do like an input, a single line input, where I'll kind of prompt the user for their name. So this could be full name. And I'll just line that up. And Bubble allows you to line things up. You can either line up snap elements to edges. So as you can see, as I was dragging this all over the place, there's a line that came and kind of produced a pause, some kind of friction that allowed me to line it up with the edge. Or I could snap elements to grid. And this grid in the background, I could have the elements lining up to this grid, right? So I'll have the full name there and this input box that enables a user to enter some kind of text, right? And numbers could be in there if the type of content I want is an email, a password, an integer. I could change the content format here as well. So I'll prompt for the full name, and then I'll prompt for the email address so that I could respond to this user. And I'll just put a text here, and I'll snap that element to edge, and I could say email address, and I could change this content to email address. So what this will do, it will prevent the user from entering anything else outside of it being an email address. So it would have to have at some domain.com, right? and I would have some kind of text that the user is sending to me, some long form, multi-line input text, and I'll just call that message. Just a simple prompt, right? Message. I'll have to expand the text here. Right. So let me expand the group and just have a button that enables the user sending me a message to submit that response. So upon submission, I would want these details, the full name, the email address, and the message to be sent to me, right? So I could set up this workflow. So what I did, I right-clicked, and it says Start or Edit Workflow. And upon hitting that, I am directed to the workflow section of the editor. So when the button Submit is clicked, and Bubble is automatically setting up a logic statement here, so that when something happens, that is when this button is clicked, it would what? Send an email. And I'm not going to store the data in the database. It would send an email to who? To myself. Let's say contact@nocodmakers.com. And this is how simple it is to set up a simple email prompt from an application. And I would have the sender name, say my app, StartupStarter. I could CC, also blind copy somebody as well. And I could say, user message. And in the body of the message, I could say hi, and I could have the full name of the person here. And I would take the input A. Let's go back and name these. This is input A. So I could name this full name. I could name this email, input email. And this input, I could name this multi-line input message, right? So back to the workflow, send an email, full name would be the whatever email, well, full name would be input full name, whatever the full name value is that is entered.
Steven, and the sender name is StartupStarter together, one word.
Startup.
Starter. Yep. There we go.
Right.
Yep. Perfect.
Full name. I could have the email here. And it would send me whatever value email address was inputted. And I could even put a space here, just for formatting. And I would have the message. And it would deliver to me the message. And this is just me setting up a simple prompt from my application, and it would send this email over to me. So let's just see what it looks like on the front end of the app. So I just hit preview. The app has not been launched, but I have a version test. And I can preview the app here, right? So full name, email address, message. And if I put my full name here, and I say contact@nocodemakers.com. Hi, I am just testing this application. Full stop. And I hit submit. It should send me an email. I don't want business going out here, but let me just sign in to see what's happening. Let's see if I got that email. Let's hope I got it. So Gmail is loading there.
It's got it. It's got it.
I think it's taking a while because you're on stream.
Mm-hmm.
Loading.
I know. It's all right. These things happen. So as we're waiting for that, you were saying, how do you, as you're going through this, you sound so confident. In fact, people on Twitter hit me up, Stephen. They're like, listen, it looks so easy, all of those things. How do you have a checklist? How do you go through this? By the way, Dan's watching. Dan Perry in the UK is watching, says that he's enjoying it.
Big up.
Say he loves his thing. What goes through your mind? How are you going through and keeping yourself on track and all these things? Do you have notes, or how are you doing this to make sure that you're not missing anything?
I actually don't have notes. When I'm approaching an app, I try to be as creative as I possibly can. You know, if like for instance, this application, I was just playing it by ear. I didn't think about it before. No, I was just messing around with this simple form, and I kind of start with the same things every time. Right? I do the same thing every time. So I'm building a process as I go along. If it's a more serious app, I'll write the idea down and what I want the outcome to be. And then, as you say, build with purpose as I'm going along. But the nitty-gritty of it is just getting the most creative thing out as I'm going along, And there are rules in Bubble, and there's a best practice and a best way to approach it. Guys like Gregory John and all these guys who are pros at Bubble, they have some hacks and tricks. And you see all this other company, No Code Apps, these two ladies, they are really good at it, and they can, direct you